Hello everyone, in this video we will be talking about composition, and this time we will be discussing the leading lines. Leading lines is one of the tools that can help you or guide you in your photography or videography a lot. So let's look into that today. Composition of your picture is definitely one of the big topics, and in the previous video we looked into rule of thirds as one of your guiding tools for your composition, for your picture composition. This is the second video I'm doing for the composition, and today we are looking into leading lines. Leading lines is something that you can find it everywhere. It is in nature, it is outside, it can be any road, any street, it can be trees, it can be clouds, anything can be used as leading lines. But at the same time you have to consider that this is something that can be ignored very easily too. Your whole purpose of getting a good composition is to draw attention towards your subject, towards the main point on your picture, and that could be definitely done with leading lines. Leading lines could be your background, it can be something in your foreground that kind of drives you towards the subject and makes the picture look really good. The biggest question with leading lines is how to use leading lines. Now, leading lines can be used as part of background where you have object in the foreground, and just so that the attention is drawn towards the subject, you are trying to lead these lines from the background towards the subject. Second thing could be your leading lines are part of your foreground, where attention from the front of the picture is drawn towards the main subject, which is either in the center or more towards the back. Leading lines will give you a good depth in the picture so that somebody looking at the picture is looking at overall picture in a flow, where somebody looking is going to the background, coming towards the subject, and it goes in a good flow. That's what you want to achieve when you're trying to compose the picture properly, whether you're using leading line rules or whether you're using the rule of thirds. The second question is, where do we use these? Leading lines is something that I have used for people pictures, where there are people in picture, where there's some action in picture. That is one way of doing it. The second way of doing it, I have also used it for landscape pictures, and it works out well, where you're using some kind of rock or a flowing river, flowing water or something as your leading line. When I say leading lines, definitely these doesn't need to be straight lines. I mean, these can be curved lines too. So you can definitely use flowing water, river, things like that as part of your rule. The biggest thing with composition is you have to give it some time. As soon as you're trying to take a picture, give it a second, give it a fraction of a second just to think how you can compose it better. Maybe use leading lines, maybe use rule of thirds, or maybe you combine them both and try to use it at the same time for a single picture. With leading lines, the trick is that the angle from where you are taking the picture has to be good. If you go too close to the leading lines, you may be distracted with a lot of leading lines and your subject is now out of focus, or your subject is not the primary thing you're trying to focus on. Same way, if you go too far from the leading lines, it can lose the effect. And that's why typically I've seen if you are using an angle of about 45 degrees from the leading line, then that works out really well. So try different compositions, experiment with it. In this digital world, definitely you can experiment it more, see if that rule works for you. There might be some pictures where you can make it work. So try it out and let me know if that rule works for you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get notified when my next video gets released. Take care and see you in the next video.